Do you think that in society there is a set image presented to us as consumers, as women who are going to be dealing with that, to purchase products that deal with menopause, to seek treatment for menopause, but that only looks a certain way, right? So I don't know if anybody here wants to talk about what maybe your experience has been societally. Like, what are those images that you've seen? And then, like, how does that differ from what it actually has been for you?
I think it's unspoken. I think
what products?
You see like this very, active women and that sort of thing. And then it's like, you just kind of jump into like, your senior stage. And it's like, you don't see like middle-aged women like fabulously like going through menopause and then like, but I'm still fly, I'm still sexy. Like we don't get both messages. So I kind of took that omission as like, okay, so what happens in the middle?
Yeah, it's like either you're young and vibrant or it's over for you.
Right.
Like we see all these beautiful women and people trying to still look like they're 20, but there's like, what about the normal women that are just having life paths and going through change, the change that I've heard people call it, which is kind of funny to me because it is kind of like this weird, ominous dark cloud,
like a final phase.
Change.
Like it's we're trying to hold on to our youth, and then it's like we just kind of descend into this abyss of like what what I mean? Like, and I love that you said that you embrace aging gracefully. Like, I want to be that. I want to get there. You know what I mean? Like that. I think that's something that the newer generations, especially our kids, we all have daughters. This is the kind of thing that we should be teaching because I think our parents I think they got different information and they were, a little less open about this kind of thing. That's why I think this panel is like so important for people to see.
And I think if you think about like past generations, like people suffered in silence quite a bit, right? And
Absolutely.
There was innately shame. There was, and I would say what I saw depicted about like menopause is like a woman who's unhinged and she's like pouring sweat and miserable. And it, and don't get me wrong, because it is kind of miserable. It's like, but at the same time, at least for me, there is no part of me that feels like less than, right? It just feels like, what is this little metamorphosis? Right. Kind of like being in a cocoon of sorts and emerging, as a different butterfly.
I think that's interesting.
That's a very positive.
I love that.
I don't know that I look at it that way.
Gorgeous.
I feel like a little fat caterpillar sometimes.
I do. And then I imagine it growing into like a beautiful butterfly.
I fly away one day. But it's so beautiful to hear that because maybe I'll change my perspective, Because honestly, for me, it's been not like that. I feel like less than. I do feel that way because, I never had weight issues my entire life, ever. And then all of a sudden, now I can't eat anything and not gain a pound, or you go to the gym for 70 years and you won't lose a pound. So I find that to be really difficult as a woman, especially living in this area of the world where looks are so important, and never really having to think about like a weight issue, which I know a lot of people struggle with, but I just didn't.
Right.
It's a little bit terrifying.
Yeah.
And you have to reevaluate who you are and adjust your entire perspective on life, which is beautiful in a way, but difficult.
Yeah. I wonder too sometimes about just from a societal standpoint, looking at if the messages we received at a younger age were different, would we even feel like we have to reframe our experience to prepare for this whole second phase? If it was something that was just more widely accepted, that we would have to really shift our entire perspective to like prepare ourselves for this whole journey that people end up going on. And it's an important thing to consider. This, what a lot of people call sort of the second half of your life. And I know, Winona likes to consider the way that we address menopause is sort of preparing you for the second part of your life that can be even better than what you've already experienced, right? That it's the second part of life that is even better. So it's instead of transitioning into something where you feel like, oh, the first part, which was the good part, and now we're transitioning into the less than good part. And it's not like that. It's actually about really embracing these things that are happening to us, right? With grace and with all the things that come with it, instead of the shame, instead of the things that, maybe society is helping us to feel, right? It's just sort of inherent in the messaging.